As of today, of course, Washington, D.C. time, President Obama is expected to lift President George W. Bush's 8 years of restrictions on federal funding for really the vast majority of embryonic stem cell research. Now, the science community very excited, obviously, over the prospects this could lead to new cures for major illnesses. Meantime, let's talk to somebody that is at least tangentially involved in this space. Cook Medical is the world's biggest privately owned medical device company. Barry Thomas, VP and Director of the Asia Pacific for Cook Medical, joins us on the program today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I know you're in the business of making medical devices, endoscopes, I mean, all kinds of things that, you know, the GPs and our medical profession need on a daily basis. Stem cells, a little more academic, a little bit further reaching, probably a few years out, but could have some pretty wide implications for the whole healthcare space. How do you view the news that these restrictions may go?
Well, certainly from the point of view of research, the restrictions have held back companies developing and looking at opportunities, and there's been work done in a lot of the universities in the US. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a good move. Mm-hmm. It is some years off, and it will take a lot of time for people to become comfortable with this type of research and what the benefits are.
What are we talking here? We're talking like maybe 5-10 years or even a generation ahead.
Even if we had a product, even if we had a product today, if we had something we could use today, by the time we got it through the regulatory path that evaluated and approved, would be 7 to 10 years before we would see it commercially. And in this part of the world, that would take even longer to probably get these type of products.
Let's talk about what you do then, Barry. You make medical devices. So you're sort of like a GE in a sense, maybe like a Siemens, like some of the Japanese companies that make some endoscopes and fiber optic.
Well, they're more devices or equipment that is used. Our products are more implantable products. So what we do is
stents, things like
stents, stent grafts, not coronary stents, but more peripheral stents, stent grafts. Products for use in interventional radiology, in cardiology and things like that, and looking at making those products more available right throughout the Asia Pacific region and being more economically available to people.
And things are going quite well for you. I mean, if there's one industry that appears to be quite immune to the financial mess that's enveloping all of us, it would be the industry you're in. I mean, it's really very untouched for all intents.
Yeah, I think history shows that healthcare comes into recession late, and it usually goes out early. And people always, talk about it and go, well, everybody's sick, so it's always happening. I think you've got to look at healthcare in two ways. There is a elective surgery part, which will tend to go into recession. People won't go and get their hip done and get whatever.
I can look better next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I heard recently, people were talking about, well, maybe medical tourism will help this region through this recession.
You've been to Bumrungrad in Bangkok, amazing institution. Yeah.
I think they're going to suffer because this is a global impact. The lady sitting in Palm Springs isn't going to jump on an airplane and come and get her hip done in Singapore because she's feeling it right now. Her shares and her investments have collapsed.
Then how come for this year you're forecasting top line revenues to increase by 50% and stay on even par with that in 2010 against that kind of a backdrop you're describing right now?
Yeah, well, again, because we're not in the elective type surgery, we're talking acute surgery here.
You don't do silicone pads and things like that. You do the stuff you need.
Exactly.
To stay alive.
To stay alive.
Okay.
And you look at China, for example, so far this year, our growth there is over 50%. But you've got a market there where people are now demanding better health care. You've got probably 300 million people now in China that are looking at their health care and wanting to be better.
You think Obama's plans to overhaul the universal or the U.S. system could actually put more of a spotlight on this part of the world?
I think it could. I certainly, from our perspective, we see that the growth is going to come from our companies out of this region. I mean, the U.S. healthcare system is not going to grow in a dramatic form.
Barry, thank you very much for making time to join us today. Okay, great. Best of luck as you're making your way around the region. Barry Thomas, VP and Director Asia Pacific for Cook Medical. We're back with more Call in a bit.